Let's start breaking into some questions and break down your career growing up in the biz and all of that. And we're gonna start with the question actually for both of you guys. It's about your dad, Bullet Bob Armstrong, the patriarch of the Armstrong family. What was it like growing up with him as your dad?
Scotty, I'll let you go first.
I never really knew. Look, he was always into weightlifting, always. We always had a gym in our house since I can remember life, and he was always a wrestler as long as I can remember life. But the first time I ever really realized that, oh wow, he's kind of a big deal. We were in a store, and a family came in, and the first thing the dad said is, "Hey, look, that's Bob Armstrong." And that's the first time that I ever went, "Oh, wow." And like the age difference, I was the oldest, and then Brad was like a year behind me, and then Steve was like uh, almost 3 years behind me, and Brian is 8 years behind me. So at that time, me and Brad were probably 6 and 5, and Steve was 2. Brian wasn't even thought up. and and so, but hey, look, I gotta jump in on this. Brian was the girl that they were gonna have. After 3 boys, oh, we're gonna have what did
We're
they
gonna
get?
try.
The big
Yeah,
the
and the
biggest,
name
loudest one of the family.
the name was gonna be Jana, and so my only granddaughter's name is Jana Gale, which is Gale was after my mom, so that was to carry on. I was supposed to be a girl, and so I don't know, with today's technology and how things are,
Yeah, it ain't over yet.
I might can be one tomorrow.
Well, possibly.
When
But
you
anyway, yeah, Bob Armstrong. So then, as time went on, watching him on TV, oh my gosh, we would watch him on TV. And back then, our television set was a huge, giant box, and with the rabbit ears on top. And as soon as wrestling was over, we were glued to it. And as soon as it was over, oh my God, we went into matches off the coffee table and all that. And our mom was one of the toughest women to ever walk the face of the earth. I'll tell you that.
as life went on and you all had these careers in the business, what was the pressure like to succeed based on coming from the success that he already had and the reputation he built?
And for me, um, look, the first match I ever had, I'll never forget this. It was a tag team match. It was with Brad as my partner, and I went to my dad, of course, nervous wreck, first match in front of people, and I said, "Hey, Dad, what is there anything you want me to do or anything I need to do?" And he just smiled and said, "Yeah, stand on the apron and watch your brother." And honestly, that's probably the best thing he could have ever said,
Yeah.
because I was glued to everything Brad did, and Brad was very fortunate. When he started, he was in the ring with like Dennis Condrey and Randy Rhodes, Norvell Austin, and that's 3 dudes that could go, and
Yeah.
3 and that was good, old school Southern, spots, tag spots, and Brad, by the time I was standing on the apron with him, he was already 2 years or a year and a half in and smooth as silk from.
And imagine he learned, like you said, those old school Southern tag spots, the timing that it takes to perfect those. He learned that, like learning to wrestle. That's you know what I mean. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's translating, but learning to wrestle and doing it at that high level is why his timing was so perfect, and his ring presence and ring placement like was all perfect. Yeah. So for me, Dad was always he was on top when I was in middle school, and he was, I mean, it was Continental Southeastern Championship Wrestling, whatever it was down south. But he went, then he went back up to Georgia Championship Wrestling and came back, and so he was always on TV. But that's what, yeah, I watched every Saturday because sometimes that was the only time I got to see him. These guys all got to go on the road with him and wrestle with him, and look, I wrestled with him many a times, but I didn't know him like Scotty and Brad and Steve did, because they got to go on the road with him and work with him, next to him. You know what I mean? And I mean travel and long periods of time on the road together. And so I had that opportunity the last 10 years of his life. And so I I got to know him, I felt like, for real, because once he stopped traveling, I started traveling, so we crisscrossed, and so yeah, it's really cool. I don't even know what we're talking
Yeah,
about
Scotty,
anymore,
you
to be quite
started
honest with you.
laughing and giggling when you heard that. You got a road story of, growing
Oh,
up with
I
your dad?
do, but I'm not sure if I can tell it, can I? I mean,
Yeah, I think you
the
could.
Which
the
one
wor
is it?
the the gas station coming back from, Montgomery
Yes.
and the
Oh, yes. Yeah, you
are
can
you
tell
sure?
that, you could tell the nunchuck one, you can tell.
Oh, okay. So look, Bullet Bob in the locker room, everybody saw the kindest, most gentle human being and would help you and help. Since he passed away, I've had so many guys say to me, "Your dad helped me so much," but there was another side to him, and 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 only if he was disrespected and not. He never tried to start anything. Anyway, we're coming back from Montgomery, Alabama. It's after the show. Back then, heels and baby faces, if you got caught even talking to each other, you got your notice, you were gone. And so we pull off the exit, and there's the whole two cars of heels. And so he goes, "All right, we'll go down the next one." We go down to the next exit and get off, and there's a guy in there, and he is just an obnoxious. We didn't know him. He was just some guy. We're trying to buy Gatorade and crackers for the ride, and uh, he just kept going and going. And finally, I said, "Hey, dude, what's your problem?" And he kept running his mouth. And all of a sudden, Bully Bob just goozles this guy and just drags him out the door. And like at a Tom Thumb or 7-Eleven, the double doors, they fly open.
Yeah.
Well, one side they had locked. And so when he drugged the guy's face just went and just pulled the skin off his face. He just starts bleeding immediately. And our car was right there. We just filled up. And he just by the neck beals him, and the guy rolls. And you know how the gas pumps are on like a little raised up
Yeah. Lift.
cement?
Yep.
Yes. And so the guy just happened to come back up to his feet. And I've stood there and watched this whole thing, but the guy goes, "Yeah, two of y'all came whoop my ass." And my dad goes, "Do you want some more?" And the guy said, "Yeah." He hit this dude with the most beautiful punch you've ever seen. And the guy literally went between the gas pumps to the other side and just did a snow angel. And the referee was riding
Oh,
with us.
Lord.
And all of a sudden he just gets back in the car and goes, "Well, he's got a buddy in there." And I told his buddy, "Unless you want some of the same, I'd just stay in here." And I said, "Well, where's he now?" And he said, "He's in there watching his buddy get
He
his
sta
ass whooped."
he stayed in there.
Oh
Incredible.
my gosh.
It's just
Yeah.
the other side to the Armstrongs.
Yeah. Should I tell
And
the
every
should I tell the
most
nunchuck?
of us that most people that know us know these stories and know how it is. But, what would Ryan, I don't wanna get too far off of,
No,
off of our track here.
we're in schedule. We're